Now at 9, we'll learn about 2 school bonds going before voters in Uniontown next month. Plus, Pitt State alumni from Africa joined together for PSU's homecoming celebrations. And how a donation from the Arvist Foundation is benefiting a local education center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Elise Snowy. A former Miami, Oklahoma school teacher is charged with a federal sex crime involving a juvenile. Court documents indicate 45-year-old Ronald Sanders had sexual contact with a 14-year-old girl in northeast Oklahoma this month. The filings allege the girl met Sanders when he was a Miami, Oklahoma public school teacher last school year. Sanders' Facebook profile indicated he'd been teaching this year at Hickman Mills Middle School near Kansas City. He now faces federal charges for travel with the intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct. 2 people are dead after a crash in Wilson County, Kansas. It happened on Highway 400 near the intersection with State Highway 47. Authorities say a van was driving east when it crossed the center line and hit a Ford Escape head-on. Both drivers, 29-year-old Dustin Hale of Rogers, Arkansas, and 41-year-old Scott Allen Bryan of Wichita, were killed. A Joplin bridge now formally recognizes the second of 2 police officers who gave their lives in the service of our community. A ceremony this afternoon marked the formal dedication of the Corporal Ben Cooper Memorial Bridge. The name goes to the Range Line Road bridge that crosses over the Kansas City Southern Railway. The designation is the result of a Missouri bill signed into law in July. Corporal Cooper and Joplin police officer Jake Reed were both killed in the line of duty in March of last year. They were responding to a disturbance call when they were gunned down outside a store at the North Park Crossing Shopping Center. Ceremony last month named the East 20th Street Bridge near Indiana after Officer Jake Reed Memorial Bridge. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be an interesting day for us today. We warmed into the 70s during the morning hours, 74, and then now we're in the 40s. So we dropped all day long. We had a few showers and thunderstorms. Average high is 67 degrees. Now, a cold front with those little thunderstorms racing across south central Missouri, northern parts of Arkansas. So we look okay. We do have drizzle out there. We're going to have pockets of drizzle sticking around throughout most of the overnight hours. Temperatures are going to hold fairly steady from this point on, mainly into the mid 40s as we go through the overnight hours tonight. And look at this colder air that is filtering south, and this is going to be on top of us all weekend long. Plus the rain is going to increase again. It's also windy, so it makes it feel even colder. North winds at about 5 to 15 for us tonight. We're going to check out the rain for the weekend here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. A beverage bottling manufacturer looks to expand its footprint in Joplin. Refresco announced today that it plans to invest $30.5 million and create 40 jobs in the process. Refresco's production covers more than 70 manufacturing sites in Europe, Australia, and North America. Bourbon County voters will decide whether to raise property taxes in support of the Uniontown School District. 2 propositions on the November 7th ballot impact local schools. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the details.
They know things more important in our community than the future of our kids and the future opportunities that they'll bring to our communities.
2 propositions on the November 7th ballot impact local schools. One would allocate more than $5 million for storm shelters, upgrading offices and classrooms, and other improvements. The second proposition would allocate nearly $3.5 million for specialized facilities, including an ag science classroom and metal shop. The district superintendent says both proposals focus on safety and educational opportunities.
Those are things that can last for generations and they have an impact for a very, very long time.
Whether it's yes or no, it's okay. At least gives us an idea of maybe what's important and what's not. And if it's a yes, that's great. We're going to start construction and we're going to improve our school. If it ends up being a no, no big deal. We just go back to the drawing board and make sure the needs of the students are going to be met.
In Uniontown, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Almost 500 students attend the Uniontown School District. We want to hear from the residents' thoughts on this. If you want to share what you think about this, go to our Facebook page. The Arvis Foundation is funding local education. The foundation today donated $10,000 to the Community Support Services of Missouri Early Learning Center in Webb City. This center is a preschool that serves children with developmental delays and disabilities.
We've expanded our kitchen. We'll be investing in a new playground area for our students. We are going to look at doing some reconfiguration of classrooms to make the educational experience a lot more meaningful and a lot more beneficial. There's lots of needs in this building and this facility, so our students are going to benefit from it in lots of different ways.
The Early Learning Center is located at 1401 West Austin in Webb City. The Indian Student Association at PSU turned on a festival of lights today. Diwali is a celebration of Indian culture with music and a dance, authentic Indian food, and fireworks. For one of the event organizers, Diwali serves as a way to bring families together near and far.
Yeah, that is the whole point of organizing this event. Like, as everyone is far from their family, we actually as a team wanted to get everyone close to their family and celebrate the events or the festivals through these kind of events. So this will give us the opportunity like to feel close to everyone, and even our parents will be feeling good that, oh, we are also celebrating the festivals that we actually miss.
Henna tattoos were available at the ticket table with designs ranging from $2 to $10. PSU's homecoming is this weekend, and the African Student Association and alumni are joining together for a reunion. And for Edward Apia Bravo, and a Ghanaian PSU alum, it's a special moment to share with his daughter Samuela, who is in her freshman year at Pitt State. The reunion is a way to celebrate their time at the university, but to also celebrate their country.
Having American education and being open to the American dream actually equips us to gain some level of knowledge, expertise, and capacity to go back to our respective countries and positively impact our societies.
The reunion will include activities like walking in the homecoming parade on a Saturday morning and a dinner on Saturday night. KOAM is always looking to hear from aspiring journalists, so we are continuing a program where we air stories shot, written, and edited by local students. This story comes from Joplin High School. If you're looking for a Halloween activity, you don't have to go far. Joplin Eagle Television's reporter Alex Carson shows us a haunted trail in Joplin that you won't soon forget.
I'm at Drakenmore, a Joplin area Halloween attraction that transforms from this in the daytime to this at night.
Dan and Marion Gepfert have one heck of a front yard. They own Drakenmore, which is an all-ages haunted walkthrough trail. It's approximately a quarter-mile long, and it's all done as a labor of love for Halloween from the couple.
Really, we do it as, it's sort of a community service. I remember whenever I was little, there was someone on the block who did something similar, not to this degree, but something similar. And it was kind of a fond memory that I had of childhood, and so we decided we wanted to do it.
The trail features over 1,000 decorations, including creepy tombstones, a walk-through castle, and dozens of inflatables. But according to Marion, the trail had humble beginnings.
We used to make our own little props just so we could have some trick-or-treaters. We lived in kind of a darker neighborhood. There wasn't a lot of trick-or-treating going on, and the kids loved it, and we loved it, so it just grew from there.
The setup for Drakenmore is no easy feat.
The actual physical setup takes about 6 weeks or so, although we work on it kind of throughout the year. Probably, I would say, about 3 months of preparation before we start setup, and then maybe 6 weeks to set up.
But despite all the hard work required, they say it's all worth it.
Kids like Halloween, and it needs to be more than just banging on the door and getting some candy and dressing up. This gives you more of a festival kind of air without being terrorized. Because kids want to go to haunted houses and haunted trails too, but it's really too much for them. So here is a safe place for families to enjoy Halloween and still get that spook.
And the kids certainly agree.
Well, it's very cool, and they have face paints and a castle that's blow up, a boogeyman, and like hundreds of blow-ups. Yes. I go here every Halloween.
If you're looking for tricks and treats, Drakenmore is open from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day except Mondays, leading up to Halloween night on the 31st. Reporting for Jet HD, I'm Alex Carson.
If you'd like to visit Drakenmore, it's located at 2333 Crow Road in Joplin. If you're interested in checking out some Halloween fun this weekend, you can learn where the fun is going to be on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. We've collected a community calendar for events like trunk or treat, carnivals, and spooktaculars. Coming up, we'll learn more about the importance of properly disposing of medicine you won't be using. The Food and Drug Administration has a warning for parents with premature infants. Don't give them probiotics. The agency says the product has been linked with 24 reported adverse events since 2018. One death was reported earlier this month. The FDA says the infant died after receiving the probiotic Evivo with MCT oil. The product, which is used in hospital settings, has the infant's subspecies of a live bacteria. The baby died after developing sepsis caused by the same species of bacteria. Tomorrow is National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. It's a time when anyone can anonymously drop off unused or expired medications at specified collection sites. Mandy Gaither has more on why it's so important to properly dispose of medicine you don't need and how you can find a pill drop-off location near you.
It's a public health crisis. The drug overdose epidemic in the U.S. led to more than 112,000 deaths being reported in a 12-month period ending in May, according to the latest estimates from the CDC. And the numbers keep rising.
Narcotics, opiates obviously are an obvious problem for people.
And unused prescription drugs that are thrown in the trash can be retrieved, abused, or illegally sold. One reason it's critical to properly dispose of them, and that's not all.
If there's stuff in your medicine cabinet, your teenage kids or other people can get into it, or other people that are having, maybe a mental health emergency and they decide to take everything in the cabinet, which I've seen a lot of as an emergency physician.
Stephen Maher with Mayo Clinic says flushing pills is also common, but it can have devastating environmental effects.
That can actually cause problems going through the, sewage treatment plant and can actually get into the groundwater, into the soil.
On Saturday, the Drug Enforcement Administration is hosting National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. People can drop off unused or expired medications with no questions asked for free and safe disposal. That includes prescription drugs, over-the-counter medications, ointments, patches, creams, inhalers, and vials, pet medications, and non-aerosol medicine.
Type in your zip code and address, and you can find several locations where they're willing to take it back, usually at like police departments or pharmacies.
Obamacare is getting more expensive next year, according to a report from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The cost of the Silver Plan on the Federal Affordable Care Act exchange will increase 4% in 2024. That matches the increase from this year, but most consumers should be shielded from the rising costs through government subsidies. About 80% of enrollees should be able to find a plan for $10 or less a month. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, a voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, talks about this week's matchup against the Broncos and Super Bowl winning head coach Sean Payton.
Well, it turned out to be a very dreary afternoon. Of course, we had some scattered showers and thunderstorms during the morning hours. Strong cold front that rolled through. Temperatures dropped since that point in time. Now it's kind of a little bit of drizzle out there. You can definitely see on our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam downtown Joplin. So we are going to have that drizzle tonight. So still be careful if you are going to be out on the roadways. Look at our temperatures. We're going to hold fairly steady for the rest of the night. We're sitting mainly mid 40s, so this is a huge switch compared to what we've had over the past couple days. And look at that colder air filtering in from Canada. So here's the front moving into Little Rock. Big difference, still sitting at 76 degrees. Plus it's windy, so it makes it feel even colder than what it actually is. We're going to have the northerly winds 5 to 15 tonight, and occasionally we'll have a gust upwards of 20 or so. All right, so all the rain that we had earlier today, it was a small little batch, is out, but we still have the drizzle. It's very light, doesn't really pick up on the radar, but what we're going to watch is rain increasing down through parts of Texas. That moisture is going to evect north. We're going to combine it with this system across the northern plains. They'll meet in the middle, giving us chilly, cool conditions all weekend long. Plus, we're going to have those showers across the region. In fact, let's go through time. Let's move to tomorrow evening. Look at the snow back through parts of Nebraska. Rain sneaks in, periods of rain tomorrow night into Sunday. Look at the temps, 30s across the region. Finally, this system rotates out by Monday, but we get our first hard freeze into the 20s during the morning hours, only into the 40s during the afternoon hours. Let's go into Halloween. Highs only into the upper 40s. We're going to be dry. It's just going to be cold. Look at our temps. 6 p.m. 40, 8 p.m. down to 33, 10 p.m. down to 28. So the kids, unfortunately, are going to have to bundle up as they go out for trick or treating. Got that out. All right, for us tonight, a little bit of drizzle, but no persistent rain. Here's the noon hour, upper 40s to near 50. So it's chilly. Look at the showers. They increase through the afternoon. Here's 5:30 p.m. Periods of showers tomorrow night. We're going to go into Sunday morning. And then by Sunday afternoon, the rain really settles back in. And look at this, a little bit of pink. So we could see a little bit of sleet mixing in once we get into Sunday evening, which is kind of crazy. It's not going to amount to anything. All right, rainfall amounts over the weekend. Most of us between a quarter upwards to 3/4 of an inch in spots, which, hey, we need the rain. 52 tomorrow, 41 on Sunday. That's it, down to 29 on Monday morning, 43 Monday afternoon. Halloween, sunny, but only a high temp of 43 degrees. Elise?
Thanks, Doug. Well, in Kansas City, Missouri, a group of artists have created an art piece that is a tribute to the budding romance between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. The massive crop art spans 1.5 acres and includes a massive heart composed of Chiefs colored mums forming the initials TS and TK. And the Chiefs arrowhead symbolizes Cupid's arrow. Coming up, the war heating up.
Fighting between the U.S. and Iran as Israel expands ground operations in Gaza. I'm Mike Tobin. Details coming up.
Mortgage rates continued their upward trend last week amid stronger than expected economic activity. Freddie Mac data released yesterday shows the 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 7.79% in the week ending October 26th. That's up from 7.63% the week before. A year ago, it was just over 7%. The most recent numbers mark the 7th week in a row that mortgage rates have continued to climb toward 8%. The Biden administration is planning to convert commercial buildings for residential use. It's the latest effort by the government to ensure affordable housing. As part of the announcement, the Department of Transportation is releasing new guidance on $35 billion available for transportation-oriented development projects. Secretary Pete Buttigieg says this will expand residential downtowns that often already rely on public transit. You must verify your identity in order to make a postal change of address. The U.S. Postal Service has a new policy for address changes. The USPS says you can initiate the change online by visiting a post office or by submitting it by mail. The agency will then send you a QR code by email. You will need to take a driver's license or ID or the QR code to a local post office to change your address. The new process is designed to cut down on fraud of unauthorized changes of address. Up next, Taylor Swift isn't just getting love in Kansas City. We'll check out a Swifties Halloween display in Wisconsin going viral. A Wisconsin die-hard Taylor Swift fan is going viral for her Eras-inspired Halloween display. center stage on Caitlin McLaughlin's Sun Prairie yard are some scary Taylor Swift skeletons. McLaughlin said she got the idea after attending one of Swift's concerts. The display has garnered attention from millions on TikTok, but McLaughlin says as far as she knows, Taylor Swift herself has not seen it. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. How the Israeli military is ramping up its ground operations in Gaza. Plus the latest on the manhunt in Maine for a mass shooting suspect. Fighting between the U.S. and Iran comes as massive explosions rock Gaza. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin is in southern Israel with the latest.
Hamas rockets raining down on Israel. A direct hit on an apartment building in Tel Aviv on Friday, the second time this week. The rocket strike injuring at least 3 civilians. Hamas has launched thousands of rockets at Israel since the start of the war on October 7th, intentionally targeting civilian infrastructure. Israel ramping up its response, the IDF conducting another in-and-out Gaza ground raid overnight. Officials there say these raids are laying the groundwork for the larger scale invasion to come. And earlier on Friday, the U.S. striking 2 locations in eastern Syria linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. The strikes were in retaliation for attacks against U.S. bases and personnel in the region. Meanwhile, the Israeli Defense Forces issuing this illustration of Shifa Hospital in Gaza, showing what it calls an underground terror complex. Hamas command centers hidden underneath the building.
He uses these places in order to do command and control for terror activities, launching rockets, etc., etc.
The IDF says that by operating from these hospitals, Hamas not only endangers the lives of Israeli civilians, but also exploits innocent Gazan civilians.
There is fuel in hospitals in Gaza, and Hamas is using it for its terror infrastructures.
Hamas says it won't release any of the 229 hostages until a ceasefire deal is reached. In Sderot, Israel, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
The U.S. launched airstrikes against targets in Syria overnight. The move was in retaliation for a series of rocket and drone attacks on U.S. soldiers in Syria and Iraq. Biden administration officials say the attacks against the U.S. forces are being carried out by Iranian-backed militants and are being done as a result of the U.S. involvement in Israel's war against Hamas. President Biden has a new primary challenger. Minnesota Democratic Congressman Dean Phillips says it's time for a new generation of leaders. Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has more from Capitol Hill.
Dean Phillips, first on the ballot in the first in the nation primary state.
Good. Now the next part to make it official is $1,000. That's the filing fee.
I brought small coins.
Phillips is challenging President Biden, filling the void as the president bypasses New Hampshire.
My friends, it is time for a change. Not in opposition to President Biden, who has my affection and my gratitude.
The 54-year-old Phillips called on former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to step aside last year. This presidential quixotic quest mirrors that.
It is time for the torch to be passed to a new generation of American leaders right here.
An early October Fox News poll of registered voters found 53% wanting someone other than President Biden as the nominee. Phillips runs because he believes another Biden candidacy could inadvertently elect former President Trump. But
could this only weaken Biden for the general election and unwittingly help Trump in the general?
Absolutely not. The only people that would say that are people that have something else to protect.
President Biden suggested he was a short-timer 3 years ago.
I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else. There's an entire generation of leaders you saw stand behind me.
Another younger high-profile Democrat is seemingly running a shadow campaign. Gavin Newsom meeting Chinese leader Xi Jinping overseas.
There will not be one more essential than the relationship we formed together, the United States and China, in our lifetimes.
The entry by Phillips into the presidential sweepstakes reflects Democratic fractures. The Democrats' left-wing coalition is splintering over support for Israel. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Boeing continues to lose money on the next generation of presidential planes. The company reported it lost an additional $482 million on the contract to retrofit two 747 jets that stemmed from engineering changes, labor instability, and negotiations with supplies. In total, the total loss on the deal is now more than $1 billion. The suspect in Wednesday's mass shooting in Maine has been found dead. Robert Card was wanted in connection with shootings, a bar and a bowling alley in Lewiston that killed 18 people. He is believed to have died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. This comes after 2 days of a multi-state manhunt for the U.S. Army reservist. A bit later, going all out for Halloween.
Halloween is just days away. I'm Caroline Shively, and as you're planning all your tricks and treats, we'll tell you if you live in one of America's spookiest cities coming up.
Well, it turned out to be a very dreary afternoon. Of course, we had some scattered showers and thunderstorms during the morning hours. Strong cold front that rolled through. Temperatures dropped since that point in time. Now it's kind of a little bit of drizzle out there. You can definitely see on our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam downtown Joplin. So we are going to have that drizzle tonight. So still be careful if you are going to be out on the roadways. Look at our temperatures. We're going to hold fairly steady for the rest of the night. We're sitting mainly mid 40s. So this is a huge switch compared to what we've had over the past couple days. And look at that colder air filtering in from Canada. So here's the front moving into Little Rock. Big difference, still sitting at 76 degrees. Plus it's windy. So it makes it feel even colder than what it actually is. We're going to have the northerly winds 5 to 15 tonight. And occasionally we'll have a gust upwards of 20 or so. All right, so all the rain that we had earlier today, it was a small little batch, is out. But we still have the drizzle. It's very light, doesn't really pick up on the radar, but what we're going to watch is rain increasing down through parts of Texas. That moisture is going to evect north. We're going to combine it with this system across the northern plains. They'll meet in the middle, giving us chilly, cool conditions all weekend long. Plus, we're going to have those showers across the region. In fact, let's go through time. Let's move to tomorrow evening. Look at the snow back through parts of Nebraska. Rain sneaks in, periods of rain tomorrow night into Sunday. Look at the temps, 30s across the region. Finally, this system rotates out by Monday, but we get our first hard freeze into the 20s during the morning hours, only into the 40s during the afternoon hours. Let's go into Halloween. Highs only into the upper 40s. We're going to be dry. It's just going to be cold. Look at our temps, 6 p.m. 40. 8 p.m. down to 33, 10 p.m. down to 28. So the kids, unfortunately, are going to have to bundle up as they go out for trick or treating. Got that out. All right, for us tonight, a little bit of drizzle, but no persistent rain. Here's the noon hour, upper 40s to near 50. So it's chilly. Look at the showers. They increase through the afternoon. Here's 5:30 p.m. Periods of showers tomorrow night. We're going to go into Sunday morning, and then by Sunday afternoon, the rain really settles back in. And look at this, a little bit of pink. So we could see a little bit of sleet mixing in once we get into Sunday evening, which is kind of crazy. It's not going to amount to anything. All right, rainfall amounts over the weekend. Most of us between a quarter upwards to 3/4 of an inch in spots, which, hey, we need the rain. 52 tomorrow, 41 on Sunday. That's it, down to 29 on Monday morning, 43 Monday afternoon. Halloween, sunny, but only a high temp of 43 degrees. Elise?
All right, thanks, Doug. One of Mexico's most famous resort cities is devastated after Hurricane Otis. The Category 5 storm made landfall near Acapulco early Wednesday, killing at least 27 people. It also damaged 80% of the area's hotels, and hundreds of thousands of people are still without power and other basic services. Residents are frustrated that 48 hours after devastating rain and sustained winds of 165 miles per hour crumbled buildings and flooded streets, authorities haven't accomplished more. Coming up in sports, Pitt State football plays its only non-conference game of the 2023 regular season. Plus, high school football playoffs continue tonight in Kansas and Missouri. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The playoffs are already here for high school football in Kansas and Missouri, and as we're into the 9th week of the season, you don't have many chances left for this to be the case, but you can catch all the highlights tonight right here on Fox 14 Press Box. It's our second to last show of the football season, so be sure to tune in tonight at 11, right here on Fox 14 or after World Series coverage, whichever comes first. Our game of the week is a non-playoff matchup, but still very important game. 7-1 Wyandotte hosting 6-2 Quapaw over in Oklahoma. Meanwhile, Missouri schools like Carl Junction, Carthage, and Mount Vernon host home playoff games. And in Kansas, Frontenac, Parsons, Pittsburgh, and more begin the playoffs at home as well. And we're also reaching the home stretch of the college football season. Very different outlooks for the last couple of weeks here between our two teams in the 4 states. That's Pitt State and Missouri Southern. Starting first with the Gorillas, ranked number 2 in the country, undefeated. They play non-conference opponent Sioux Falls for their homecoming tomorrow afternoon. Gorillas try to move to 9-0. Brock Baldridge has the coverage in game, and we'll bring you the highlights on KOAM afterwards. Over in Joplin, Missouri Southern back at home. The Lions coming off a dominant win on the road at Lincoln last Saturday. Very tough opponent tomorrow, though. 15th ranked Central Missouri comes to town. The Mules' only loss this season was to Pitt State by 1 point. I'll have the coverage from Joplin and bring you the highlights after that one as well. Over in the NFL, the Chiefs haven't lost a game since week 1 at home to Detroit. This Sunday, the defending Super Bowl champs head to Denver to face another Super Bowl champion coach. More on that in this week's Minute with Mitch.
It's the most important fact concerning NFL history that doesn't get talked about. The stat that no coach who's won a Super Bowl has ever won another Super Bowl with a different franchise. The new head coach of the Broncos, Sean Payton, won a Super Bowl as head coach of the Saints in 2009, and even mentioned this offseason he wanted to be the first guy to win a Super Bowl with 2 different franchises. He's in a race with Jacksonville head coach and former Chiefs offensive coordinator Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2017 and is trying to do it with the Jags. Think of the others who've tried it and failed. Vince Lombardi, Hank Stram, Mike Holmgren, Dick Vermeil, Mike Shanahan, Joe Gibbs. The moral of the story, you don't hire the coach who's won a Super Bowl, you hire the coach who almost won one, like Andy Reid on this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
That's all for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Are you ready to get in the Halloween spirit? Well, it's going to cost you, with Americans digging deeper in their pockets this year for all the tricks and treats. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has more from Washington.
The scariest night of the year is just around the corner, and folks will be carving out time for both frightful and fun activities.
We're seeing a split between family-friendly events, and then I'm also seeing 50% of events that are specifically for adults, 21 and up.
And participation in Halloween events this year is rising higher than your heart rate at a haunted house, with 73% of Americans estimated to partake. That includes handing out candy, decorating, and dressing up, according to the National Retail Federation.
Horror-related events have also grown 68% this year. So when we think about haunted houses and spooky mazes, those are really gaining traction coast to coast.
People across the country are gobbling up Halloween happenings. Research by ticketing site Eventbrite shows the spookiest cities this year are Denver, Los Angeles, San Diego, Boston, and Charlotte.
Think everything from haunted houses, pumpkin carving, costume parties, everything and anything that you can think of related to Halloween events and experiences. Denver had the highest amount of these.
Even more scary, spending is expected to reach a record $12.2 billion. That's more than 108 bones per person, with the bulk of money going towards spectacular decorations, candy, and costumes. And a jaw-dropping $4.1 billion will be spent on dressing up.
An average costume is around $35, and for something that your kiddo is only going to wear once or twice, that's a lot of money. Additionally, kids tend to change their mind.
If you haven't had the guts to pick up a costume, there's still time. But if you don't want to pay retail, a local marketplace like Just Between Friends can help you save.
The average cost for a Halloween costume on consignment is around $10.
But if there's not a marketplace event in your area, there are other ways to score a deal.
If you look at a thrift store or a consignment shop or even places like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace.
If you're hoping to stand out this Halloween, be aware that the most popular costume for kids this year is Spider-Man, and for adults, it's a witch. Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, we'll learn how the judges on Fox's The Masked Singer are getting into the Halloween spirit. From Fox's The Masked Singer judges to the masters of horror, the celebs open up about their Halloween plans, traditions, and more. Here's Fox's Ashley DeForkin.
Halloween is upon us, and Hollywood stars are scarily excited to celebrate this spooky season.
Halloween has become a whole month of celebration because my kids love it, you know, so now with all the kids, they want to put up all the decorations, and we celebrate Halloween for the whole month.
I have a 9-year-old daughter. It's her favorite. I do the whole 9 yards with her. I do like full-on face painting, making her unrecognizable. I do it as well.
For some, it's an extra special occasion.
I don't have any Halloween plans yet, although it is my favorite holiday because my birthday that's the night before.
Others have costumes set to go.
Lucky enough to have worked on 3 Halloween movies, and so I carry a Michael Myers mask in the trunk of my car just in case.
They appreciate seeing fans dress up as their famous characters.
There's a lot of Joe Dirts out there. I usually post a lot of those. It's very funny. People dress their babies up like it.
We see a lot the Purge masks as Halloween costumes. That's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
My most memorable Halloween costume, at least recently, was Megan. Megan was a big hit. It was a lot of fun.
They've even invented ways to prevent their kids from a candy hangover.
The Switch Witch is you write a note to the Switch Witch a couple days before Halloween. You leave it outside, and it has like 3 gifts that you're willing to trade all your candy for. So Halloween night, they come home. I let them keep 10 pieces of candy, and then they have to leave the bags outside the door. And essentially, it's the trade for a toy.
Trick-or-treating tips to costume cues. The stars are ready for a Hollywood Halloween. Ashley DeForkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of animals enjoying pumpkin treats at a Washington zoo. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us part of your night.